Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. And today, in this Code Tomato Life, I'm going to work on Komondor again, and the topic will be adding a isDefined function to the system, so to the library. So what I'm talking about is this. This is the issue that I'm working at. So what happened is that when I'm using it, I find out that when creating some steps in some generic fashion, it is hard to keep track or hard to check if certain step has already defined. This is especially true when I'm using templates. So adding this helper function would make that work much easier. And so to get started, let me, this time I remember, start the Pomodoro. So and then let's get to the code. So to begin, let's add a test. And the code I'm working on is inside scenario. So let's just put it down there to show that this is the function. I might have pulled it up, but I didn't do that, and since it was small enough and then I put all the steps here, so it's okay. Anyway, so let's clean this up a little bit. So let's first add a test. So the test is to showcase the problem that I'm having. So let's do this. It always do this. So what happened is, say I have some code, so some generic functions that I would end up calling this twice. So say define step, let's say run name test. Okay, just give it a name, and then write down some context. I don't really even care about the things inside. Okay, so well, this is we can just return. So what happened is I can create a code so that the name something could be A, B. So right now here I'm just demonstrating the problem I have. So say some values equals to, and then values for basically for each x, and if x not equals to b, then let me open this. Then I define step run name test and do this. Okay. Else I would say, oh, just copy run test b with extra values, extra info. Okay, run test name. Okay, so the code I was writing is similar to something like this. It have some certain conditions in, and when it meets some conditions, then I want to use a template. But of course, this code will fail, and I can demonstrate that. So let's run it. because it's already defined. When the value is A, it define it once. When it's C, it will define it again. Right. Of course, I don't want to get rid of this logic because I want to avoid defining the same step twice in different locations, so that when people accidentally do that, they were able to aware, because if not, they will get different behavior than what they expected. Right? They define a step once and then expect write some tests and expect that step to be ran, and then someone else or himself a couple months later add another step with the same key, and then try to do something else, right? So I want to avoid that. So this definitely would need to stay. So, but at the same time, it doesn't support this well, right? So what I'm going to do is this. So I'm going to define this step. So that is just showcasing the what I need. I can keep it like that, but actually, let's do this. This right now, this will fail, right? But I want to make that so that define step.isDefined, and then with the same test, and don't want to repeat it. No, actually, for readability, it's okay to repeat it. If not defined, then I'm going to define it. Okay, so I want to make sure that, okay, if it's already defined, it won't run the same step again, to avoid that error. Of course, this will fail, and so what I need to do is to create that step. And to do that, this is a function, and this is one way that nowadays I prefer to do, to put in the helper function right underneath it. That's one of the benefits of using JavaScript. So you can, even for functions, you can make it work like a static class, or a namespace to put things in like this. So object.assign, and assign that, and then with this. Okay. So, and then I will say is defined, and let's just say return false for now. Right. Do that. Okay, this still failed. Because it's still duplicate error. If I put it to true, then I can type. Come on. So I put it to true. And then running this, now it should show all pass. Although I don't know. Oh, of course, because that's the power of TypeScript. It noticed that my definition doesn't have any input, but you can see it failed. Of course, it all passed. Of course, this is not the real case, right? So I use the name cross over here, so I'm going to do the same. And I actually kind of forgot that why I use a generic here. Let me just take a quick look, see if I can figure it out why I was using generic. Let's see, define step. Actually, it's all string. Why I was doing that, I kind of forgot. Well, I can fix that later. Right now, let's say this is a string. Cross, and then you can see the alignment is a bit off, so like that will fix it. And then of course right now, if I save this, this will pass. Run again, this will pass, but that's definitely not what we want. So what we're going to do is, well, first say that is defined returns true for not yet defined step. Okay, because that's what happened. Of course, I want to clean this up a little bit later, but first let's get false if return true for already defined step, returns false for not yet defined. So if it's already defined, it will return true. So what happened is, I would like to simplify this test a little bit, because right now this doesn't do anything except, it will try to rely on the existing duplicate handler exceptions. But I want to make sure that it is tested correctly, equals to true. Okay. So this is fine, right? In return true for already defined step, but the other hand, the other way, the inverse is not true. False. Not yet defined step. Okay, so it returns false, of course, right? So what happened is, we have a store step, and then it is then pretty simple. Oh, never mind. Still don't know yet. Don't know why I was using generics, but let's move on and keep on fixing this. So let's say store.steps dot sum entry dot cross equals to cross. Oh, it fell in some other places. So why? Oh, okay, now that passed. Okay, good. So all right, so that will fix it. That's simple enough. And let's see if I can figure out back then when I did this piece, why I was using a string. I could just take this out and see how it goes, and it's still all pass. So I'm guessing I was doing something else, and then think that the regular I can put in a regular expression instead of a string, but that still doesn't make sense, because it's inherit of it's a string, something more than a string. Let me see, let me go back here, just take a quick look. Yes. Oh yeah, over there back then this cross was string or regular expression, but over here is already a string. So I actually do not expect it other than a string, I believe. And the test shows that. So, however, I'm not going to change that right now, because potentially that's a breaking change. Because if someone was really using the feature for however however way that making this work right now in my mind, I can figure out a way, but just in case if that happens, if I change this, force it to string, it will become a breaking change. And that is kind of in a way, it's a disadvantage of using TypeScript, because the type system is more straight. So it is easier for you to create breaking changes, just like any static language, right? So we have to be a little bit more careful with that. Anyway, that's what works. So let me clean this up a little bit. So that's fine. The layout, normally I would like this, but you know, that's also okay. But let's just keep it like this. Okay, so this would be it. A pretty simple case. So let's create a branch, and it's defined. Oh, does that work? Oh, the branch. The Git actually support parentheses. So add definedStep.isDefined. That's it. And after I push that, I can go back up here, and it's defined. And this will say close that. And that will be it. So I finished this a little bit shorter than one tomato. I have almost 10 minutes left, but I think it's simple enough, and that's not I'm not feeling like to work on a different issue right now, so I will cut the stream short a little bit, which is a good thing. So, well, hope you enjoyed this pretty simple code change, and we'll see you next time.